into your account. Yes, so I'm currently logged into your accounts, and that's what I'll be using for the session. So you can also make any changes, and we can also share these links with those that are not here. I see we only have 22 participants, so maybe we can go ahead and drop a message in the server, right? So drop a message in the server so that we can inform others that are not here to join the session as fast as possible. All right, so Oluwanifemi, good afternoon, welcome. Okay, so Amaka, let's talk about maybe typography. Maybe we can start talking about a couple of resources around typography. So we've noticed that a couple of people have issues when it comes to probably picking the right fonts or even understanding some of the right fonts to work with. Or maybe downloading fonts. I think some people are aware of Google Fonts, but maybe we can also give other resources. And maybe we would also talk about type scale. I think I would also go ahead and share my browser here. So Amaka, which of the platforms or sites do you think we can do you think would be of help or benefit for some of the designers on the call?
Okay, so we have different kind of platforms, and since we're starting off with fonts, I think my first call to action will be the fonts.
The fonts, okay.
Yes, the fonts, because the font has any font you're looking for both free and commercial purposes. You can find them there. We also have yes, this is the font.
Yeah, so I can see that they are kind of like grouped into various categories. So for those of you that that will need probably you're working on a design for something related to fashion, right, or something that it's related to tech, right? So I believe based on the categories you can definitely do your search and pick one of these fonts. If you don't find the fonts you're looking for, I'm sure there are a couple of resources around, but it's quite simple to use the font. So all you have to do is download the fonts. You see, I just visited this URL. I'm sure Amaka will share this on the resource section on Discord, and that is why I said you should stay on Discord, right? I'm also on Discord, monitoring, to see the links that will be shared here, and to see if maybe you have a question on the chats. Feel free to drop your questions as well on the chat. All right, so Amaka, maybe I should go ahead and show a quick example on how to download and activate these fonts.
Okay, no problem. You can go ahead.
Okay, so let's assume that we want to download. Let's go to calligraphy, because I really love this kind of fonts. Of course, I believe a lot of you also love these fonts. And I remember, Amaka, you told me about these fonts when we were working on the product. I remember Cream Cake. So yeah. I'm going to download this font right now. I don't think I have this font on my laptop currently. So all I have to do, as you can see, when you point on this, it tells you the amount of people that have downloaded this font. You see, we have 101,000. Let me zoom in. Yeah, I like this cool feature where you can just zoom in. So 101K. Here you see we have 22K downloads. So let's download Cream Cake. All right, so that is super fast. We have Cream Cake downloaded on my laptop. All I have to do is click on this. As you can see, this is exported, right? So it was like unzipped automatically. Initially, what I had was this file, which is a zipped file, right? Cream Cake, and now this is what I have. So I'm going to move this to my desktop. I hope you can see it very well. Yeah, so I'm just going to double click on this. So basically, your font files would come as OTF or TTF. They are different font formats. Once I double click on this, it's going to ask me to install. So of course I'm using a MacBook, but if you're using a Windows as well, I think it's the same thing. Once you double click, you are able to click on install, and so someone is saying they cannot see my screen. I think that's just too for me. Maybe you can probably leave the call and join again. Yeah. So now I have this font installed. Amaka, I remember you also recommended a particular tool for fonts, to preview your fonts. What's the name again, please?
That's Font Viewer. Or
okay, I also think one of them was Base, yeah, FontBase, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, FontBase, yes.
Okay, all right. So basically, please, can you show us how to install the fonts again? Okay, so that's a question from the chat. Yeah, is it possible to have Emanuela help us, with the questions? But all right, so I'll do that again.
I
Let's
think
delete this.
yeah.
I think she's on the call. Okay, so basically, what I did is, you click on downloads, right? When you download this font, you see it's downloaded right now, but it's on my downloads. So I'll go to the downloads folder. This is the downloads folder. So looking at this folder, I have a bunch of files. Maybe you can't see this well, but I'm going to zoom in. So this is the file I just downloaded, right? Cream cake. So all I have to do is extract. So all I have to do is extract the content of this. And basically, if you're using a Windows, you'll probably see extract, but you can also open. Once you open this, it's going to extract the item automatically. And that's what you see here, creamcake.otf, right? This is what was extracted automatically into this folder. So I'm going to drag this folder to my desktop. And I mean, it's not, you don't necessarily need to drag it to the desktop. I'm doing that so you can see it very well. You don't necessarily need to do that. So now that I have this file, which is this creamcake.otf file, all I have to do is double click on this file, right? Or just right click and say open. So once you have this file opened up, if it has different variations, maybe like, regular, italicized, bold, black, different font weights, it would show up here. This has only one particular weight, which is, the regular, and it says not installed. So all you have to do is to click on install fonts. So once you click on install fonts, this has been installed right now. So you can see I have cream cake right here. Okay. All right, so yeah, so Amaka also recommended FontBase. I don't have FontBase on my laptop, but I will show you FontBase before we proceed. So FontBase is a tool for previewing, your fonts. Basically like a font manager. Okay. All right, so this is FontBase opened on my screen. I hope you can see my screen. So I think FontBase is free. Yeah, I don't know if they have. Yeah, I think it is, and it's free for Mac, Windows, and Linux. I mean, this is a very good option. I personally use a tool that runs on a Mac. I think it's called Typeface. But this is a free tool, and of course, this is completely free. So go ahead and download FontBase. It's an easy way to preview and possibly, test your fonts before using them. So I don't have this installed, and this might take up some time. I would have loved to show you, how to use this tool. But maybe before the end of the session, I'll be able to do that. So let me just go ahead and download. So while that is downloading, let's proceed. All right. So as you can see, that is how you download fonts from the font. You can also install the font on your laptop and also use the fonts, right? So you can use this font in your design file. So basically, before I can use this font, I might have to close this and open it again.
Close it and open again.
Oh, okay. So let's test that. So I'm going to say hello, hello world. Can I have my yeah? So let's see, cream
cake.
Okay, so I might have to do that basically because
Figma is interesting.
I don't know why we always have to do that, Amaka, because I remember installing the fonts installer on the, anyways.
I think it's a default from Figma. It's something you are yet to fix. So immediately you install a font, you would have to close Figma and open it for it to reflect among your fonts on Figma.
Okay. All right, so let's try this now. So cream cake. So right now we have cream cake. Let's bang this up a little bit. All right, so this is the cream cake font that we just installed. And if you have FontBase, of course, you can easily just preview that from FontBase and test if that would work. If you are using a MacBook and you want to use an alternative, I have Typeface right here, which is a very good alternative as well. So you can go ahead and download Typeface if you love to use Typeface. Well, I think it's nice if you use FontBase. Basically, they provide the same set of features. right? This is Cream Cake. You see, I was able to search for it, and I can also edit the text I have on it. So for example, Talk Universe, and this would automatically appear here. So, I mean, you can check if this is what you really want to use or not, probably before trying a couple of other fonts, right? So let's move on to the next. Amaka, which other app are you going to recommend to us as regards typography?
Okay, we also have Google Fonts. I think this is more popular among others.
Okay.
So Google Font has every font, or let's not say every, but it has most fonts you're looking for. And then it's easier to access because you can easily just get it.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, for web developers as well, they use Google Fonts a lot. And in case there's a font you're looking for and you can't find it on the fonts, I believe you can also check this place. Free fonts, of course, right? Free fonts, a lot of
free fonts.
Yeah. So if you're looking for paid fonts, I also know we have something called Monospace. Maybe we'll check that as we proceed. So these are free fonts. And, in order to download a font here, probably let's search for Space Grotesque. I know we're using this font. So if on Space Grotesque, all I have to do is download the family. Yeah, I'm sure. So download the family, and we have this font downloaded right now. So I can export this. I can extract, sorry. So I extracted this font, and yeah, so you see this is the .ttf. So I can also double click on this, and I just double clicked on that, and I have it right here, and it shows the weights, as I told you earlier, regular, light, medium, and bold. So we can install the whole package, and this would automatically be installed on your laptop as well, Space Grotesque. So you can see we have it installed here, and you can see the weights of this. So, I mean, it's the same process for Windows users as well, right? So once you have it installed, you can also preview in your font app. We're not going to do that right now, and you can also use it in Figma, right? So, Amaka, what other resources are we looking at here?
Okay. We can also look at design motivations, like when you want to design, what you look to get your motivation, because we know that when we talk about design, we said that design isn't about originality. So most times you draw your inspirations from other people's ideas and design what you have to design.
Okay. So Amaka, before we get there, looking at the catalog from our font category, I think, from typography, I think there's an option. There's an option for maybe trying to get the right set of pairs. I think someone dropped on the chat 1001 fonts. Yeah, I think I'm aware of that resource as well. Probably we should just take a quick look at that. So. Yeah, 1001 fonts. Maybe I'm making a mistake. So let's do Google. All right. So you can also check out 1001 fonts. So it's a nice resource. It's a nice platform to also get free fonts. Different types of fonts, of course. Serif or sans serif. Any option you're looking for. I think you can find most of them here. Some of them are also paid. I'm sure of that. Let's see.
Yeah, some are paid here. Most of the fonts here are paid, but you still have free fonts here.
Yeah, I think it works with a kind of subscription model. I don't use this very often, but you can check it out, and yeah, check it out and tell us what you think. We also have Adobe fonts. I think Adobe has
Adobe fonts, yes.
I think the link for that is fonts.adobe.com. So, the thing is, now you have a lot of fonts at your disposal. How do you know the best set of fonts, the best pairs of fonts to use? And I think that's what we should be talking about probably next, font. I think, Amaka, we have a font pairs.
Yeah, font pair, fontpair.co. So what that does is since you're going to use at most 2 fonts, maximum of 3 fonts, font pairs help you select the font you want to pair together and see how it's going to look like before you use it. So that way you know that you're making the right choice when you're pairing your fonts together.
Okay, so let's check it out. So this is fontpair.co, and I think it's a very amazing platform. You know, you see we have a bunch of options from sans to serif to slab serif to monospace, you know, display fonts, and also handwriting, which is where the category that has you know, the calligraphy and all that. So let us look at different pairs. For example, you know, they're showing you a bunch of pairs that can work together. So if you look at this very well, you see we have IBM, Plex Sans, and yeah. So let's see. Let's see. So I think I know of these fonts. This is also a grotesque font. So I think you know, you are able to preview. Do they have some kind of default pairings? I can't remember, but I think they do. Space mono and monospace. Okay. So Amaka, is it possible that they give you know, the type of fonts based on the product you're building, or do we have to do we have another kind of, you know, platform or service that would assist us with that?
I think they give fonts based on what you're building. So you just check about what they even give examples. So just like all these screen size you're showing. So they show you that, okay, if you're building a newsletter, a normal site, there are examples. So they give based on what you want to build. And I think there's another one, just I can't remember the name right now.
Okay. Okay. So,
Okay, let me try searching for that. I should remember.
yeah, so guys, I think you can check this out. I mean, this is a very wonderful platform with what I'm seeing here, right? I mean, yeah, you might be having issues trying to get the you know, right set of pair for your design. Of course, you know, the fonts you use are also based on the type of product or the type of design you're working on. But looking at what we have here, I think this is interesting. So check out fontpair.co, check out the font categories, and you know, also check out this pairing area where you see we have, for example, some of these fonts are difficult to pronounce anyways. So we have Playfair Display and Lato. And I think, you know, we've used Playfair Display in the past for a fashion kind
Website.
of, yeah, fashion kind of website. So it's a very nice, it's a very interesting font. Mixing it up with Lato, I don't think I've tried this combo before, but it looks interesting, and I think you should also, you know, try it out. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I think I know Josephine Sans. I've used this on a website as well. Yeah, so please check it out, and you know, try out a couple of you know, simple designs, maybe kind of like a card. You know, we're definitely going to work on some elements, you know, in Figma here. So all right, so I think that Amaka, some people asked, what if you know, you're trying to implement like a font scale, and you know, how do you pick your font scale, you know, within Figma?
Okay. Now for font scale, there's a tool that generates your font scale. So most times it generates based on, I think it's a
Are you,
minus.
are you referring to type scale?
Yes, I'm referring to type scale. Yes, that's
Yeah.
type scale.
All right, because I saw it on your list right now. All right, so so basically, you know, type scale, the way this is working, the way this is working, you know, there's kind of like an approach, you know, for calculating this, and I think I'll be able to explain that. So this is an example, right? You have we're working with what we call the major third scale. So we have multiple scales you can choose to work with, and I remember, you know, working on the mobile applications, working with the I think the minor third and the major third is kind of like a preferred choice, you know. And these options, as you can see, they have some kind of numbers, and you know, now we have 1.250. So let's assume you are working with a base font size of you know, let's say this is 16, right? This is 16.0. Which is also referred to as 1REM for software developers, basically, you know, working with what we call CSS. So, but as a designer, you know, you look at these stuff in pixels. So this is a 16.00 pixels. So I think in order to get the next scale, and I'm going to just, you know, quickly try this if my thought is, you know, correct. So I'm going to say 16 times 1.250. So let's see if I'm right here. I might be wrong, you know. So someone is saying, is fontbed.co available? Yeah, FontPay is a website.
The
FontPay
website.
is a website. So Amaka, I was thinking maybe you'll be dropping the links, you know.
Yeah, I dropped the links on Figma, and also
You mean on
for,
Discord?
sorry, on Discord rather. And
Okay.
also for this visual skill, it also has a plugin on Figma. I also dropped that link on Discord.
All right. Okay. So yeah, so I think I was right. What you have to do is just multiply this value by the scale, which is 1.250, and then you get the next scale or the next size to use. So you know, this is this has been this pattern is really used for on products, you know, like web or mobile products, basically, you know, so that you will be able to maintain, you know, the scale. So when we try the same thing, you know, when we say 20 20 times 1.250. Let's see what we get from there. I'm not really good at maths, right? But strangely enough, I'm a software engineer. So 1.250 times 20, let's see. So that's giving us 20. Okay, so that's correct, right? And you see, well, these fonts are being populated from Google Fonts, so you can, you know, try any of these options, and you see what it looks like. And at the end of the day, you can even grab the entire CSS code for this, so you can share this with your developers. You know, when working in a company, they don't have to you know, work on these stuffs again. All they have to do is grab this and, you know, share this with them. Once they put this up in their code base, it automatically generates, you know, these scales for them. So, you know, when you use you know, this particular size in your design, you are rest assured that when they try to implement this using that scale, it would automatically amount to the same thing, you know, and there won't be too much, there won't be a difference, except maybe, you know, the developers are not really good or familiar with working with this, right? So typography is a very important part of your designs, you know, whether you're designing for web, for mobile, even as a graphic designer. I mean, understanding typography, understanding scale is a good way to implement hierarchy or to set your textual contrasts, right? So that's something that we should definitely have at the back of our mind. So please drop the link for them on Discord, and I hope, yeah, I hope they would, you know, find it fun going through some of these links shared with you. If you also have other links yourselves, I mean, you can share amongst yourselves or within your room. So let's talk about mockups, Amaka.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people also find it difficult, you know, to get the right set of, you know, mockups for their designs. Um, yeah, or maybe let me see. Let me see what the time is currently. Okay, so we've spent 30 minutes. Amaka, do you think we should move straight up to mockups, or we should try to implement the scale on Figma so they would be able to do that themselves?
Okay, let's implement the skills on Figma, then probably talk about UI tokens so that we carry everybody along.
Okay, fine. So, you know, in this session, we've discussed typography, and we're going to implement this scale right now on Figma. So you would also learn how to, you know, do that yourself. Then we'll talk about UI tokens, and then maybe in the next session, we can now talk about some other things. So let's start off by working with the base scale we have here, which is 8.9. So I'm going to come back to Figma. Let's set our default yeah, let's just create a simple artboard. So for those of you implementing on a desktop, you know, I love to use iMac, basically because this is the resolution for most of your laptops out there. It's good to select the right resolution so that when you share this with your designers who are definitely building products to run on regular laptops, you know, I see most people picking the wrong screen sizes, and then, you know, picking like the MacBook Pro. The resolution on the MacBook Pro is quite bigger, you know,
Quite high.
yeah. So the designers might implement something similar with the same size, and then it looks different on their laptop, you know, and the web developer sees something different at the end of the day. So there's this kind of confusion in there. So let's just select the iMac, which is 1280. So now that we have this, I'm just going to write a very simple text. So let's just call this, website text. Let's change the font to something. I'll use Helvetica. All right. Let's start with the base 8 points. Yeah, that was 8 points something. and I think that might be too small. So give me a second. Let's use 12.80 as the base, something that is more visible for us. So, but of course, I mean, for the 8 point something, you can use that for things like captions. But for now, let's just work with 12. 12.19, I think that should, 12.8, yeah, that should work. So check out type scale. Also, this is the size we're going to use. So let's just use this in here. And then we can set this to base font size.
Okay.
All right, so now that we have this base font size, I want us to, come up with different type scales that will move from this size, down to the heading. So let's assume that this is the body, this is the regular body size. So let's call this small body font size. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to turn this into styles at the end of the day. But for now, let's just try to get different sizes for this. There's something called auto layout. We're going to have another session where we'll teach you auto layout specifically. I'm going to use that right now because I want to be able to just align these stuffs automatically without much stress. So I just duplicated this. So what I did is basically let me come back to the default. So this is what I have, and I just applied auto layout. I used a shortcut for that, right? So I used Shift A. Shift A gives you auto layout, and then I set this item so that when I duplicate, it actually moves. Instead of moving horizontally, it will give us something vertical. So if I duplicate, you see we have the next item. So let's implement the next scale after the base. So the base being 12.80. And we're working with the major third scale. So it means we have to multiply 12.80 by 1.250. Now there are some plugins on Figma that would automatically generate this. I have a couple of them, but it's better to teach you how to do this manually. We have a lot of plugins coming out every day, and you can always, learn or get to use new plugins, right? So let's multiply 12.80 by let's see, 12.80. I mean, who knew that designers would one day use calculators while working? Times 1.250.
Okay.
All right. This is 16. This is giving us 16, right? So which is 16.00. So this is the next. So let's call this large body font size. So let's assume there are some font size that are basically not headings. In your implementation, they are going to be used as part of the body text. So let's work on the next one, which means we basically have to say 16 times 1.25, right? So 16, yeah, times 1.250. And now we have 20. So we can just, 20. All right, so let's do, so let's assume now that this is heading. So let's call it base heading 1. And this is just our assumption. So you have to understand, I think it's good to have at least, I would say, 3 or 4 heading scale, and then you have like 2 or 3 body scale. So this is just, based on how we work. 3 heading scale, because when working on an application, you might want to always have, that big font size that, is kind of like the main attraction. So probably I will show an example, but let's proceed for now. So we have, this is what? This is 20. So 20 times 1.25, I think that would definitely give us 25. Yeah, so 25.
Yeah, that's 25.
All right, so the next one should be 31. So that should be 31.25.
That's 1.25.
Yeah. All right, so let's work with one final one. So let's 39.06.
39.06.
Yeah. All right, so this is what we have, and let me just apply better space here. All right, so now that we have this, so we're able to convert this into a style. I think that's the most important part I wanted to really explain. So when you say, when you talk about converting this into a style, you would want to use a style because you want these styles to be reused instead of people entering the values or doing this manually again. It's quite different from components. Components would create this somewhere under your assets, and you can just drag and reuse this. So we'll talk about that too later. But for style, Now we have different, styles, and we're going to call this like H1, H2, H3. Then we have the P. We can use this as the paragraph. We can call this P normal. So let's do normal. Then we do large, and we do body.
Small body.
Yeah. So let's create a style. So basically, when you're creating styles, this is what you use here on Figma. This is for style. You can have fill style. You can even have a stroke style, right? So these items, styles are style is a very important thing that I feel it's good, how to utilize, styles in Figma. Now we have the base font size, and I'm going to set up a style for this. You click on the add, which is the plus, to create a style. So let's call this, let's call this workshop. This is kind of like the name of the website or platform we're building. And I'm going to say /font. And I will explain why I'm doing it this way. So let's call this heading 1. So you see we have this kind of prefix, right? Workshop /font. This might not be, the best way to create your own style. You might have a different convention for structuring this. So I don't want to tell you that there's a fixed way to name these things, but it depends on you, the designer. So it's good to actually follow a good practice of ensuring that if you have a new designer coming on your file, when they see workshop /font, they would know that you are referring to your typography. So I've seen some people call this typography. Yeah, especially, I see most designers working with Sketch, doing it this way. The name of the file or the name of the website or mobile app, then /typography. So let's work with it this way. So we have a new style, for the heading 1. We're going to create another one here. So I'm just going to add the plus, and I'll put this heading 2, right? So when we look at our list of font styles, so let's do that. So let's look at our font styles. Now you can see we have heading 1 and heading 2 grouped under workshop /typography. If you don't put this type of grouping, which is the prefix, you would have all these items arranged, without being in a group. You understand? So without being in a group. So I think maybe one thing we would have been able to do is to probably say workshop /typography /heading, right? Then heading 1, So let me do it that way, because I would love to, let me see if I can edit this. Then I would also do the same thing for the other guy here. So let's see. I doubt if this, I'm not sure if this would, let's see. Okay, so this is still showing us /heading. Okay, so I think I did one thing twice. Yeah, I think I edited one of them twice. Let me see. I think that was a mistake I made. Yeah, so let's see. Heading for heading 1, right? Then this is for heading 2. Let's add this here. All right, so that worked. Okay, so sorry about that. Now we have workshop typography heading, then heading 1, heading 2. And for the last item as well, we're still going to have the same thing. So it's a workshop. Maybe I would have just called that typography /heading. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That was a mistake. Let's take that off. Let's copy this. If I can I? Nope, I cannot. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. Workshop /typography /heading, and I'm going to call this heading 3, right? I would have added a plus first. Sorry.
You'd have added a plus first.
Yeah. So now I have let's see what we have here. So now I have heading 3 as part of these headings. So the next one would be the body, right? So I think let's call this the body. So let's say we have the body. So this is base heading, base heading. I'm just changing the name, so it's kind of like so let's call this heading 1, right? Heading 2 and heading 3. All right, so now for the body, we're going to call this body large. We're going to call this body normal. We're going to call this body small. All right, so let's do this for the body. I'm going to create a new style for the body, and I'm going to paste this in here. This time I'll change this to body, right? I hope you guys can see this well. So now we're using body, and let's call this large, because that's the large option, right? So let's create a new style. Let's do that for the next one as well. We'll just paste this in, change this to body, and change this to normal, create style. Also do it for the last item, plus paste this in and call this small and call this body.
Body.
Okay, so if we look
And
at,
this is
so if we look at all the items we have right now, you see we have the headings, which is, H1, H2, H3, and then we have the body, large, normal, small. So imagine you then decide to create a very simple, kind of like very simple landing page, So let's take this off. Let's bring in our text, and let's say this is going to be the heading of this page. Remember, you can also decide to have your styles and set those items, those styles that should be bold, the ones that should be regular. So you can always extend that. You can say workshop, typography, body, bold, then small, so you can always extend and have a whole lot of them. And then it's better to do it that way so that you will know, you don't have to always do it manually again. To make your work look neat and consistent. We're not going to go that route of, adding more options, but you can always do that, bold, black, italicized, those options. So let's say we're just going to work on a very simple, a very simple page. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to say making or building, this is small, right? Let's zoom in. So building platforms that scale into global products. Okay, so this is looking quite long for an heading, but yeah, I think we can work with that. There are some other things we'll show you, such as setting your margin, working with using your layout grids to, sort out your text scales or your text, your alignment. We'll talk about that. But for now, let's just select this and go with heading 1. So you see what we have right now. Let's move this. So I'm just making this smaller. I'm going to make this bold. And, now this is looking, we did not set a style for this though, right? But, we're able to make this bold. You see that automatically that style is gone because, we're not working with that specific style again, right? So if I take this back, you see we have the style in here. So it's a good idea to implement the styles and, you set the items that you want to be bold and the ones you don't want to have that, bold stuff or bold feature on. So let's assume this is what we have. I'm going to take this back here. All right. So let's assume this is what we have and we just, align these stuff to the center. We put this right here. I think it's also a good idea to set your, on the font, it's also a good idea to set your line height, which I believe you know what that is. But in case you don't, basically this is your line height, and of course you can adjust this, right? This is you also have this, but basically this is not specifically a line height. This is paragraph spacing. This is line height right here. This is your font size. This is letter spacing. So you need to know these stuffs. So, you can have this right at the center, put in your icon whatsoever. We're not going to go into detail on that. We'll have a session where we'll build, like from wireframing to mockup and all that. So I hope I explained this well and I hope you understand this. Let's, Amaka, I think we can now talk about tokens, right?
Yeah.
Design tokens.
Yes, the UI tokens.
The UI tokens. Okay. So I think we dropped a material, that only explained, but without some practicals. I would love to rush through some of them, basically because I think it's something we would have, it's something we would have done in a different format. But unfortunately, I have to just come up with a couple of samples. So Amaka, for example, we have like, buttons and can you give us like, different, can you give us like a reason why, and I mean, why we would want to use a button on our design? Let's assume we have a mobile UI. We're working on a mobile design, for example. I'm going to take this off.
Okay.
I'm going to create a new artboard for Android. Let's work with Android large. So let's assume we are working on a very simple Android app. I'm trying to think of an what do you think we should use as a use case here?
Okay, you can use like a landing page or a splash screen.
Okay, or maybe the audience should tell us what they think we should just come up with something real quick.
Okay.
Maka, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, but let me hear from the audience, please. So,
oh, can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you now. So let me hear from the audience. So someone said a landing page. So we're looking at a mobile design.
We're looking at a mobile screen.
Okay, so someone said a walkthrough screen. I think that makes sense, right? I think a walkthrough screen makes sense, right? So let's do something real quick. So first off, just in case you don't have any prior experience with designing mobile interfaces, you don't have to be confused about whatever it is we're going to do. Of course, we're going to explain. We're going to explain this as we progress with the course, right? We'll have multiple sessions, where we can talk about stuff like this. So let's say we are to design a simple walkthrough screen. I think that was from Caroline. Okay, yeah. So I'm looking at the chart here. All right. So let's implement a walkthrough screen, a mobile walkthrough screen for, yeah, something real basic, maybe like an e-commerce shop, right? And while we're doing this, we're going to use the opportunity to explain a couple of design tokens, like badge, like buttons, yeah. So I'll show you how to design simple buttons, very simple buttons, and also things like tags. And let us just go into that very fast. All right, so our walkthrough screen is going to carry like 3 pages, and on this screen we're simply going to. All right, so I'm going to just put in so we would have like our status bar here. I would advise maybe you pick that from a kind of like an already implemented Android UI. It's always preferred to do it that way. You don't have to be designing status bar and all those stuff. You have a couple of samples you can work with. So let's just say this has 20. Okay. Then we have like a very simple text description here. So I'm going to say, okay, let's say, and let's use one of those styles we have. So we can just use, let's see, that is looking very small. So let's use, yeah, quick order just like this. So there are so many patterns I'm not, working with. Like I'm not using a couple of shortcuts, auto layout and those stuff. And I didn't even put, like a layout, like alignment and those stuff into consideration. Of course, you should, when implementing something new. What I would rather do is work with a layout grid and, change this to columns. And for mobile, I, usually love to work with 6. And I love to set a margin of, let's say we have, let's say we have 20. So I usually work with this pattern. And we would also show you and explain, why we choose to use this. I've seen some people working with the ruler where they have to set this margin, to avoid making mistakes. Let's zoom in to make sure we are right on track here. All right. So yeah, you can also work with the layout grid turned on. All you might have to do is adjust this so you can drop it maybe to like 3. I usually love to use 000, which is the black instead of the red option. It doesn't matter, basically. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So let's just say this is a quick order, then we have kind of like a description. I don't have anything in my, yeah, so I'm just going to use, there are some plugins for, lorem ipsum texts. I think I might have one. I'm not sure, but I'm going to check if I do have one. So then I will fill this with lorem ipsum texts. Which are just dummy text. So let's go to small. Let's check my plugins. If I have, oh yeah, I do. Okay, I forgot this is Amaka's accounts. Yeah, so she has, so we have 10 sentences. Let's just generate. This is too much. I think it's still too much. Okay. So I hope you can hear me. All right. So this is what I have right here. I would love to, put in a very simple space, for the line height. So I would want to just adjust this a little, and we'll have a session to also, like tell you some of the, some of the rules that we think you can apply into your spacing. Let's arrange this up to layouts. Let's drop this down to 15. Now you have something as simple as this. Arrange this properly to be in the center. So it's kind of like saying, okay, these are things that you could do. So we have this as an example. Then you're going to have two buttons. So probably around this point, let's talk about the button. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. So yeah, I'm just going to create two buttons here for now. Remember, we're going to have a section here, for devices that, have the navigation options here. So you can just put that in. I would advise again, in order to get some of these samples, you can just go down to the community. Maybe we should have an example here. So I'm going to search. So let's check out, let's see, Android. I don't know if we have like a kit. So I can see Android navigations, Android status bar.
There should be a kit. There's always a kit.
Yeah. Do you have any kits in here?
I'm not sure about that now. I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I think I can just check one of these options, and probably we should have those options like, the status bar and the navigation in there. So this is, something from the community that was downloaded. Of course, you can see in brackets community. So you can always search for community resources like this, and utilize some of those components that you don't have to, recreate. For example, this is navigations. So if I check here, I'm sure I should get something, right? You see, we have a couple of options. I think I like this, for the light theme. So I'm going to work with that. Instead of, designing my own, I can just work with that, position it right at the bottom here. So I'm sure you know what I did, or how I brought this in, obviously. Then let's also get like a status bar. So I'm just going to check here for status bar. Okay, so I think this came up from the community. So you see we have, I don't think I like this. So let's search for Android. Oh yeah, Amaka, I think I remember it was wireframe. I think it was wireframe. And I think you should have a wireframe in here. So kind of like Android.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think it's mobile wireframe like it. So you can get, most of those components we're looking for, straight from the community. So let's just bring in an example. Right, this is taking time. Okay, all right, so let's go to Android, and let's see. Okay, this is weird. It's weird that we can't even find.
I don't think this works.
Yeah, I don't think so too. Okay, so let's not. So someone is saying, where can I search in the community? So yeah, you can do that, straight from here. You can just, click on this and, navigate. You can navigate to the community from there, but, I'm just searching here. And yeah, so these are some of the items that are probably, that are already on this account, right? These are already on this account, high fidelity. I really love this. I think, yeah, I really love this Contra. Yeah, because of they have a lot of illustrations that you can work with, but I doubt if they also have those navigations and status bar we're looking for. But let's check. Yeah, so let's see. Okay.
Okay.
Mm, all right. So I doubt. I mean, very cool illustrations. You can download this for free. I think it has a lot of options for Sketch and the rest of them. And I think,
Yeah.
do I remember the name of the designer? Yeah. Okay. So you can download
It,
it and you'll see all those details right here. You know, I was actually trying to get some of those components, but probably we'll drop a link where you can get, like, you know, probably a material UI kit, you know, general Android wireframing kit where you have, you know, this status bar and the other items. For now, let's just proceed. So I'm going to create a button. In order to create a button, I would just, you know, use this pattern. So I'm going to just have like next. You know, of course, this is the first page, so let's assume we don't have a back button here, right? So I'm also going to change the style. I'll just, you know, keep this low. Probably I would use small. And then I would just use auto layout, which is Shift A once again. And I'm simply going to, you know, apply a fill. Let's apply a fill. So let's assume, you know, this is an online store. So I'm just going to use, you know, random colors. Of course, remember that it's nice if you implement a style, you know, first, you know, before working on your designs. We did not do that, which is not a good practice, but except you're just playing around like what we're doing right now. So I'm going to set this to sit in the center so that when I drag this, yeah, something like this. So, you know, this is actually sitting in the center, and I want this to probably start off from here,
yeah.
on here. So let's also set you know, like a border radius. Yeah, 5, not bad. I usually work with, you know, between 3, sometimes 5, sometimes 8. But it depends on the design as well. You might want to, you know, make this completely curved. You know, I've seen buttons like this. Your text would probably be white. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a very simple button, and yeah, you can even convert this into being a component. I'm going to make this as you know, 5. I think 5 works for me, or even 3. So just something a little bit curved, you know, not too much. So let's bring this down maybe somewhere here. So you might also want to implement kind of like the steps, you know, to make people know the amount of steps we need to go. So let's just do something simple. I'm going to yeah, first, yeah, duplicate this 1, 2, 3. So let's say we have 3 screens. So remember, I'm using auto layout here. That's why I'm able to automatically, you know, arrange this. So I want to put in like the space in between them. So let's just say this is probably small. So let's make it 15. Let's put this in the center. And since we're currently on the first page, I think you know, we can use a colored option for this. It might not be blue. I think it's up to you, right? We're currently on this page, and we can also arrange the whole thing, you know, to have proper alignment, you know, in between the items. So now you see we have like this kind of well arranged, you know, the spacing in between is, you know, kind of what's the right word for it? Oof. Okay, so I think I'm kind of missing the word.
Fit and space in between.
Yeah, so I wanted to say, you know, the space in between is kind of, someone is saying, can your audio be louder? I'm actually loud. If you can't hear me well, please let me know. So yeah, so we're trying to, yeah, consistency, sorry, that was what I was looking for. So consistent, we're trying to make sure that the spaces in between is consistent. Let's get a random image from Unsplash. And I wanted to show you, you know, places where you can get some other images, but of course, time will not allow us to do that right now. You know, we'll definitely have a session where we show you a lot of, you know, platforms and websites where you can get some of these items for free, or a bunch of plugins that you can also use. Now I'm using Unsplash. I think we also have Pixabay. You can also use that option. Let's just search
We
for.
have Pixel, we have raw pixel, we
All right.
have
Okay. So I'm just applying this. So I've been able to apply one image from here. One thing you might want to do is, you know, you must learn to. I mean, that's where creativity comes in, right? So this is what we have right now. Looking at this picture, the color in here doesn't really match, you know, with our color. It doesn't matter sometimes, but yeah, you can always try to, you know, optimize things to make sure to make sure you also achieve, you know, that level of consistency when it comes to colorings. And there's a good way to select, nice colors using colors. That's one option I would give you. There are so many of them, and we have that in our catalog as well. Colors is one of the best options that I've used. And what I'm trying to do here is I want to show you a different thing you could try out. So yeah, so take a look at this. We're able to also, come up with something interesting, using this pattern. So you see, this is nice. I mean, this is looking great. For fashion, I might want to stick to black or something dark, not pure black, but I mean, pure black can work for fashion. But yeah, a lot of people advise not to go that route because you might not, use it well. So I'm using 151515. And since this is fashion, let's try this out. So take a look at this. We're still on point, and you see it's not looking bad at all, right? So we can duplicate this, and that is why it's good to have kind of like a guideline, a style guide, so that you don't end up, making unnecessary changes because you feel one is better than the other, right? So yeah, I'm just going to look for other images. Yeah, so of course it's good to use images that depict what you're trying to describe. And we're not doing that right now, but that is a very good practice so that when people see the text, they're able to also, probably relate that to the image. I'm just trying to use images that kind of work together because, we're talking about fashion and we're showing clothes, right? So let's say we have a quick order, or let's start from affordable. Yeah, affordable. Can I spell that? Affordable clothings. I don't know. Is that not making any sense? All right. So let's also say fast delivery, and yeah, let's say let's say quick order. All right. So of course the texts are different, and now that we are at this point, we can easily swap these items, right? So you see, I'm swapping these items, and there's no complication in the swapping because I have done my my arrangement. Yeah, I've actually aligned this stuff properly. So at this point, it is ideal that we have a back button, right? So let's go ahead and implement one. I'm going to look at this size from here. This is 320. So let's just drop this down into 2. Then we're going to have a spacing in between of like 10 pixels. So I'm just doing my calculation from the width. So dividing this into 2 is going to give us 160, if I'm not mistaken. And if we're working with 160, I think it's nice if we then drop it down to 150. This is not the way you should probably even imagine this stuff. So I'm trying to have like a 10 pixels, spacing in between both buttons. So let's drop this down to 150 so that we can keep 20px, right? So we're going to try 150. Let's do that. So we have 150. Let me duplicate this. Before duplicating it, I'm going to create like an auto layout, and then I'm going to duplicate this item. Then I'm going to also this horizontal, right? So now you see this is what we have, which is not looking perfect yet because we want this to at least touch the edge right here. So the next thing we might want to do is, let's yeah. So let's Control Z. Let's do it this way. So now we have this particular item sitting right here. I think we can also on the auto layout set this to space between, and then move this down to the edge. Good. So now we have back right here, and then we have next. So some people might want to put icons. You don't have to. All you have to do is to set the use the yeah. So let me show you. So set kind of like the contrast to show that okay, this is next, this is back. I might drop this, either from the opacity, or maybe you might choose to change the color if you want to. I think I would stick to just working with probably adjusting it from here, or making an adjustment using opacity. This is just an example, remember? So let's work with this. So I mean, reducing the opacity to some level makes it look disabled, right? And that's not what you want to do. You just want to show a level of contrast. So some people might want to use like probably use different colors. So let's see if we can probably use let's see what color would work for us here. For fashion, what color would work for us when it comes to fashion? So that is where you definitely have to do your research. Now we're just trying things out, and this is probably not the best way to explore. I won't use orange because this deep orange kind of relates to, I think I would probably want to use that when it comes to things around food, you know. So how about yellow and, changing this to 151515. Yeah, not looking nice. I don't think I'm comfortable with this at all. So I'm trying.
Let's use teal, yeah.
Yeah, let's just let's stick with this. Okay, so yeah, we're going to reuse this again. At this point, let's just paste. And right now, maybe this is the last screen, so maybe we can have finish. So it's up to you. It's up to you. You definitely probably want to have like a splash screen before this. And just at this point, one thing you might want to do sometimes when working with images is to scale your image. And it's quite simple to do that, right? From the image, click on the fill, you click on crop, you're able to scale and adjust, the positions. It's yeah, if that's what you want, right? So you can always do that. That's the basic idea we're trying to pass on here. You can always, make some adjustments. You can decide to also, sorry, with using the control key, you can cut these items. Yeah, you can cut these items if you want to. There's always a way to, like cut these items.
You see two persons in the room, I'll show them.
You said what?
Sorry about that.
Okay. I thought you were talking about, I thought I heard meeting room. Okay. All right. So this is what I have right now. So, I mean, this is not looking complex. Of course, we did not start off with a wireframe, which we should, because you don't just make random designs and expect that, oh, my clients know that I am a super designer and they will definitely accept this. It doesn't work that way in the real world. You always have to test your designs, be it a splash screen, no matter what it is, you have to always try as much as possible to test your designs. I mean, it's quite important to do that. There are so many things that are missing here. Your status bar, when you're putting your status bar, of course, you have to make sure it's visible even while it's on this, so you have to always consider what that would look like. I can see we have a lot of questions. With this on Splash plugin, does the image save directly to downloads? No. It's just directly inside your design. Yeah, someone said blue is okay. Oh yeah, let's just leave it at this. But yeah, I think I would love to show you before we end the session because
okay.
Sorry?
So sorry I had to interrupt you.
Okay, go on.
Okay, someone sent a message and was like, how do you adjust the border radius? So if you don't want to adjust border radius for all sides, you just want to adjust for one side.
Oh yeah. So you can do that. Should I show you let me show you with the button before I take it off. So basically with this button right now, I can click on this and looking at the border radius, all I have to do is click on this option, which is an independent border radius, and I can set like 50. So you see we only have border radius on one side. Maybe that's too much. So let's use like 10, right? And let's also set for this other part. So let's use like 10. Okay, no, that's wrong. 10, right? So we have these parts. And I've seen people doing things like this. Please don't do this except your client wants this, but you get the idea and you can set those stuff independently. Yeah. And there's another option called corner smoothing. So I would show you one final example on how to use that. Let's assume that we have our store, let's assume there's no login screen, so ideally what you should have next is probably, kind of like login. But let's just try to show a card, very simple card, very simple shopping card. So I'm going to have something like this, and we're going to assume that every single item would have, some details, right? So I'm just reusing some of these items, and yeah, this is what I'm basically going to do. So we have, so let's say we have this particular item right here. Arrange it with auto layout as well, adjust this, and on every single item you probably want to click on it and pay, but one thing you want to have is like the name. So let's say universal, oh my god, I'm really bad at fashion. Okay, so clothes. Yeah, so
Real clothes.
yeah, female. Okay, good. So let's say female. I already said universal, so yeah, doesn't
No,
make any.
unisex
Okay,
instead of universal.
okay, unisex. Is that correct?
Unisex clothing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Uh,
correct.
um, yeah, I'll just leave it that way. So at this point, I have a kind of like description, a short description. Maybe you don't want to show the whole thing because of space. Yeah, because of the space you have here. But of course, your description should not be too much. There are so many ways you can do this. You can put kind of like rating. If you want to, you can have rating. I'm going to show you. I think we've explained how to use an icon pack called. Where is that icon tool? I have.
Icon set.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
icon.
this is it. Icon set.
Thank you. I actually have a lot of tools and sometimes, yeah, quite confusing. Okay, so that is wasting time. All right, so we have icon set. I'm going to simply pick a star, for rating. And let's drop that here first. Let's just reduce the size. I would love to make this like 16 by 16. All right, so let's cut this, create a new auto layout in here, drop the height. I don't want too much spacing, so let's leave it at 0. Then I'm going to simply paste this by the side and then, align this properly. Then I would also put the space between, yeah. Then, adjust this. So I want to put a star rating, but it's not going to end up just looking like this. You have to put maybe like 2-star, 3-star, let's also adjust the color of our star. Most times probably you might work with something bright yellow, right? Maybe this is too, yeah, I think, I don't know. Yeah, it depends on your design. Yeah, let's just leave it like this. But this
Depends
is
on the background too.
it depends on the background too. So we can work on the background instead of using pure whites. It's also good to just take this down a little. Yeah. So that's F4, F4, F4. Okay. So let's add the text. I'm just going to pick this, paste this outside here. Just put like 5, just a number. Cut this, paste this by the side. But this time I'm going to select this together. And yeah, make sure they're together like this. All right, so now that they're together, let's drop this to like 10 or 5, so it can be closer. And probably make this bold. That's not necessary though, but yeah. So let's just leave it this way. This is not the best way to arrange a 5-star rating, but let's just leave it this way. Maybe that's too close. 2. And probably also adjust the star 13 by 13. Ensure that this is okay. So I noticed one thing. There is another item. Take this off. All right. So let's leave it at that. Yeah. Then I think for this we just need to make sure we take off the space. So you see, there's a space there. We don't want that. We don't want that space at all. So let's click on this and let's just take off the space. So probably I think this is fine. We don't necessarily need the space because you already have a whole lot of space here. So let's say we're working with a border radius of 10, right? You can apply the color smoothing stuff, and I will show you what to look like when we apply that. So looking at this, right? This curve is not bad, but when you apply that, developers actually find it difficult to do this, but it makes it even smooth, and the look is better. You might not observe it until you probably like compare the differences, but trust me, this is great. So let's assume you can take a particular image from your laptop if you have one, right? All you have to do is click on the image, right? Or you can bring in the image and then fit it into the shape here. But let's use Unsplash. I mean, that's quite faster for us, at least for what we're trying to explain. So back to yeah, fashion. Let me just search for fashion, female fashion. I call that unisex, but I don't know. This is all right. So this is not looking bad. Yeah, just like this. Okay. So I think there's a question there. Amaka, can you check that question? So you see, we also have like the price. There's a price section there. We've not added any price for now. But yeah, you can simply add the price. So just make sure it's just make sure you are sure of what you're doing. Let me drop this to light. Add the price. I'm just going to say $99.99, right? So let's say we have just add kind of style to this. Are you with me, Amaka?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm here.
Okay, all right. So let's just say we have $99. So I'm going to ungroup this and then group the items together so we can have the same level of consistency again as regards the spacing in between these items. Yeah, probably you want to have order now, or maybe you want them to click on this before it shows up, that order now thing. I think it still depends on how you want this to appear. So you see, I'm changing these items randomly. You don't do that. You shouldn't do that. One thing you must understand is now that we're working with this pattern and you feel, oh, this is nice, this is okay. Sometimes you have to consider a lot of changes. What if the name of this dress is so long and it's going to probably, you're going to end up having something like this. You see that your design is already being, destroyed. So basically, you might want to, let's say we have female blue. I don't know what I should call this, but I think it's called a tracksuit if I'm not. Yeah, so don't laugh at me. Oh, beautiful. Tracksuit. Did I spell this well? Track and suit, or is it together?
It's supposed to be a jumpsuit.
Okay, it doesn't matter, please. Tracksuit.
Tracksuit, jumpsuit. It's all good.
Okay, so we have a female blue tracksuit, winter edition. I don't know. So I'm just trying to show you. So imagine this is looking like this. You already need to make sure you're considering the spaces, the spacing between to start with, the size, to make sure that the size you're working with is the perfect size that you really want to work with. To make sure that you have tested the level of weights for the font. Maybe you might also want to make this lighter if that is if that is basically what you want, right? So as regards this item, I'm going to group this together. I'm going to drop this down to like dollar, make this like 10, 15, just a bit smaller. So yeah, sorry about that background noise. I might have to quickly quit WhatsApp. Can I do that now? All right. Okay, so let's drop this to 5. So this is just a quick example, and you might also want to add, like a button if you really wish to do that. So we can have like purchase. So I'm just going to pick this. We'll show you how to make this component, so you don't have to always duplicate. Instead, you can just pick it up from the assets. But
that's it.
Now we've not done. Okay, that's bad. All right, so let's say purchase now, right? Maybe purchase now, or just purchase or order, it depends on what you want to use. So I want us to mix this up with this guy right here. So let's go ahead and select this tool, group this item, also apply the space between so that we can drag this and ensure that, there's a level of, come on, don't do that. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. All right. Just right here. Okay, so I mean, this is yeah, this is quite basic. You might choose to say, okay, I don't want it this way. I want to have a card. I want to replicate this. I want to have like a background shadow. Of course, a lot of you might have probably considered that option. This is not the best design you can have. You want to have like smaller cards with icons. You want to do something real fun, right? Implementing a card is not oh my God. So I just discovered that I've taken 21 good minutes. All right, so we're going to have a very interesting session as we proceed. We're going to be having workshop sessions like this. We're going to be inviting professionals and people that are way better than myself. Amaka is also going to be probably handling the next session. Once she's available to design live, right? So she'll be doing all those stuff. I'm still trying my best to make sure that yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. In the next session, we'll focus more on the design tokens that we mentioned, talk about a couple of things, from iconography, talk about, avatars, badges, buttons, fields like a regular text field, password fields, talk about working with better, working with images, in better ways. Also implementing things like tabs, like toggles, the kind of toggles you have on iPhones. Also, yeah, a bunch of toggles for Androids, so work on these tokens, and we call them design tokens because, they are basically, they come together to make up components, right? So work on components like, your cards, avatar groups, calendars, stuff like that. And try as much as possible to be part of the design sessions. We are also going to be having like a UX, session in the future where we have someone come on the platform, we interview them on a call like this, and we come up with kind of like a research process, design using design thinking approach. So we have a lot, in store for you. And as one of my friends would say, you snooze, you lose. So just ensure that you're part of that session. Amaka, please, I think we can close the session already.
Okay, yeah, before we close the session, I think just one more thing, then we'll close. So you're asking about how to install plugins in Figma. So I think, Mav, just that, and we're done with this session.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so to install plugins in Figma, basically you can do that from here. You can just go down to plugins, and you can click on find plugins. I have a couple of plugins here already, so you can just click on find more plugins. It will take you down to this search where you can then search for that plugin. I think there's a plugin called Blush.
Yeah, Blush.
Yeah, so you can just click on run. This will automatically install. I'm very sure of that. So yeah, so apart from, I think I have this installed already. Probably that's why it's just showing up. So this is for illustrations. But we can come down to our homepage here. Go down to the community. I think, yeah, community right here, and then we can search for plugins. So for example, what kind of plugin are you trying to install? Let's see if we can search for. There's this particular plugin that I think it's called Gradients. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, yeah, I think so. All right, so you can just, it shows up right here, right? Files, widgets, creators, plugins. Then you click on the particular item you want. So these are different tools that you can easily use for generating gradients. I'm not going to install any of this, but all you have to do is, try it out, click on try it out, and to be installed. Yeah, I think Gradient Blob. This is a nice one that I've used, and I think you can also explore this. So when working on designs, and you need a blog. So I'm quickly going to see 5 minutes. Do we have any other question?
I think that's the last question. That's all.
Okay. All right. So by clicking on try it out, it's going to just it's going to show me, a place where I can just try it. But let me, while that is opening, let me go back again and show you that you can come on. Yeah, you can click on the item. Yeah, so you can also visualize how it works. You are able to randomize or create different blobs. We call it blobs, right? And then just add it to your design. So where is my design file? I think it's kind of lost. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, come on, right here. Okay, so this is yeah, this is it. So you can run this and use this on a project, right? So this is an example. Let's insert this and see this is all we have. So while it's moving, you can just insert. You have different shapes. Then the next thing you might want to do is to color it. Of course, this is looking pure black. You don't want that. So that will bring you down to linear gradients. And I mean, knowing how to use linear gradient is something that you really need to use. So you see the way I'm able to easily come up with something with a very nice 3D kind of effect, and can even make this even more interesting. You can use your effects, to add like an inner shadow. Let me spread this down to 100. It makes it even look more 3D kind of. So yeah, there are more things you can do by understanding different concepts on how to implement, such things. I think I also have like a website that I wanted to share, but time will not allow us to do that. But I was looking out to show you how you can implement some gradients, and you see we have gradients. You see we have blob maker, right? So we'll definitely explore some of these things and some of these tools, and there are so many of them, right? There's so many of them. You see, we have a lot of things on our catalog, and we're ready to share these things with you. So yeah, for those of you working on the assignments, remember the submission deadline is on Sunday, and you can submit using the Comrade bots. I think we have a video showing you how to do that. So yeah, I think that's all from my end. Amaka, thank you. I think
okay, so yeah, that's all, guys. The video is recorded, so we'll drop it on YouTube and you get the link on your class resource channel. So don't worry about it.
All right, and bye, guys. So someone was asking if we'll still have the session this evening, Amaka. I think we'll get back to them on that.
We'll get back to you on that. We'll drop it. So, all right, everyone, take care. Have a nice day.